Hey, hi, hello, yo, what's up? Hey guys, it's Viridian. I hope you guys are well. For any return viewers, I know you're probably like, you do 2 videos a week. Where were you last week, ho? And all of that is very mindful questions to be asking, and I'm very appreciative of that. With Medusa being out on her cruise, I just didn't want to get another partner for the week, and I just was like, I just wanted a little bit of a break, so I decided to take a week off and focus on my art. For a lot of y'all who don't know me, I did go to an art school, classically trained oil painter, enjoy doing all that kind of stuff, and I haven't painted in a long time. I'm living in Denver now. Since moving to Denver, which was in 2022, I've not painted once, so it was very like, I want to kind of get back to that into this year. I kind of want to explore that a little bit more. I kind of just want to be able to explore that creative side, because I feel like as you grow into an adult, as you work, as you worry about your 401k, your health benefits, all these like adult things, your taxes, you kind of start losing sight of that creativity and that mindfulness and the things that you used to really enjoy and love doing. And I don't want to lose sight of that. So I was like, I want to just spend the week doing art. So I did some print making, some lino cuts. I did, because like I said, I haven't painted in a long time. I did just a quick study of my cat. Nothing crazy, because I wanted to see if I still had it, because again, I hadn't painted in like a year and a half. So like nothing wild, just like a quick little study. This one still isn't done yet. I just gotta wait for these like first layer to dry until I can get back to it. Just trying to get into the swing of things and try to find it again, because I haven't done it in a while, so I wasn't really setting myself like expectations of creating like a masterpiece that is going to go down in the Louvre, but like just wanted to get back in there again. So anyway, that week is over, so it's time for another Get Ready With Me. Medusa and I are going to catch up on both of these episodes of Chaos and Charm. We're going to do a little quick run and do it like an A&W Long John Silver's, like a Taco Bell Pizza Hut. We're going to combine the two, make it kind of amazing. We're going to do that. So you already know what's about to happen. I'm about to shave, take all this off, cover my brows, put a little bit of beard cover on, and we're going to get into this. I heard y'all were looking for a diva. Ooh, flat. What's more diva than this? You tell me. I'll tell you, actually. I'll tell you. I want to tell you. I'm going to tell you. We're going to get started with our glam. And so, of course, like I always do, I'm going to start with the Vision Cream cover. This is by my good Judy, Miss Danessa Marks. So then we're going to go into the Bob. This is the big old blender. This is about the size of my face. It's just going to go ahead and get that foundation on. And if you remember, I always like to start by directly applying over my facial hair. And I forgot a step. I'm human. You hear me? Let me repeat it. I'm human. Sometimes that happens. I'm going to go into the MAC Fix Plus just to kind of rehydrate the skin. And so that way my foundation will sit on top of this better, because I've already powdered all of that down. My favorite thing about drag too is it's never about getting a coverage. Like you watch like these beauty influencers, you know, that are promoting whoever they have a code for at the time and whatever is giving them cash to promote their brand. They're always like trying to find their exact match. And I'm over here doing drag and I'm like, yeah, this is 4 shades too light and it's too yellow for my skin tone. What about it? You ain't gonna clock me. You ain't gonna clock me. You ain't gonna see me nowhere. It's because I go nowhere. But the rumors about like YouTubers just hiding in their bedroom is it's tea. It's really tea. Because I mean, I go perform. I'm about to have a show coming up. You know, I do be performing. But you know what I love more than performing? I'll tell you what I love more than performing. I love staying indoors. I love to just mind my business, read my book, paint my paintings, and love on my cat. Especially love on my cat. I got a cat named Stinklebutt, and I love him to death. Like, if he, you know how like your mother was always like, If your friends jumped off a building, would you? If my cat were to jump off a building, I would jump off a building. I'm so... What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it? You want me to go live without my cat? I don't think that's happening. Okay? Jesus. Anyway, we're going to continue applying this product. Still using the Vision Cream cover. I'm going to go into this white shade. This is Danessa Myricks TW. As you notice, I don't put foundation around here. I'm pretty pale. I'm pretty pale if you haven't noticed. And I like my white to be pure white. I'm not trying to go for a bright under eye. I'm trying to go for a white under eye. We want to talk about cis drag queens. Like cis gay male drag queens calling themselves the dolls. You will never be the dolls. You are not a trans woman. If you were Barbie, you'd be that Barbie in Bridge to Terabithia when they played Extreme Barbie. You've been swirly. You've been thrown out windows. Your head's chopped off. You got a bob. And an ugly bob at that. Not even a French Parisian bob. You got a fuck-ass bob. And how do you live with yourself having a fuck-ass bob? Jesus. I had a whole theme about what I was going to talk about in this Get Ready With Me about like creativity and like finding yourself and live life love. And all I talked about... and I talked about complete nonsense this whole time. And, you know, I like to believe that we're better off for it. We'll leave it up to the judges. I'm pretty sure Medusa is probably already done with her makeup, and I'm over here like, la-di-da-di-da. I'm over here talking about bobs, and this bitch is probably like tapping her wrist, being like, sister, let's go. It's so crazy because at a gig, like if I'm going to a gig and I'm performing, I am like the first girl there, the last girl to leave. I am so professional. Get me on YouTube. Get me to film something with somebody. I'm running 10 hours late. My makeup's coming off. I'm losing a nail. I got hit by a bus. Like, it probably looks so bad. But I'm like, I promise I'm good on time management usually. So I'm going to go into medium one. We're still sticking with the Danessa Myricks. This is the Dew Bomb Contour. This is in shade medium one. Usually I combo light one and light two, but what? No! Oh no! I hate it here, Grandpa. Oh, this is too damn bad. Oh, I hate this. Y'all. Y'all don't even... No. This for the people who just lost somebody, their best friend, their baby, loved one, their shady. Put your hands way up high. We will never say bye. Do you know what I'm going to do? You know I'm going to tap in place. Tap in place. Because I want it here. I don't want it up. I don't want it down. I want it concentrated here. So we're going to diffuse into place here until I'm happy. Taking it up a little bit. And even then, it's kind of like how I do my eyeshadows, where it's not all the way up. It's slightly on top of that line. So it diffuses at that line. So it still stays in place. So we still get a nice blend. See that? We still get a nice blend, but it's not harsh. Next up is my cream blush. I'm going into Heat Index. This is a cream to powder blush from MAC Cosmetics. Like I repeat every single episode, if you don't know, I used to be a MAC girly, so I use a lot of MAC products because I was a MAC artist. We're going to start with our blush. We want to feminize the face, so I'm really taking this up in almost like an 80s kind of way. And then we'll take it down with whatever's left on the brush here. I'm going to go into a similar brush that we used to blend out our contour. This is from BH Cosmetics, so that's how you know this is an old brush, because throwback, I don't think they're a thing anymore. Didn't they like file bankruptcy or something? This is a good area to learn your face. So if you notice, I have a round face, so I take my white a little further down to kind of round that out, because that's what's more natural with my cheekbone. A lot of people just try to only do like a straight line and not really play around with what looks right on their face, and then it results in something that just doesn't look natural. And if it doesn't look natural, it's not going to give you what you're looking for. You're doing drag. I know a lot of people want to focus on the contours. Focus on the highlights. Contours are masculine, highlights are feminine. Focus on how you can highlight the face, not contour the face. That's going to ultimately help feminize that face more if that's what you're looking for. Alrighty, and I'm going to do my brows off camera, and I'm going to come back and we'll start with our eye makeup. I am back with my base, which means we can get started with our eyes. Continuing on with the Danessa Myricks train, ignore how dirty this is. Please ignore how dirty this is. This is the waterproof, this is the Vivids waterproof cream palette from Danessa. I'm going to obviously, well, you obviously don't know. Sorry! I'm gonna go into this green shade here, and we're gonna go ahead and start building up how I want the shape of this eye look to look like. We're gonna start working on our eye shape. So, you know, I always go kind of straight up here. Boom, boom, straight up, straight out, tapping motions to not take the product underneath off. Now that we're starting our eye, figured I'd get into kind of what I wanted to talk about this week and just kind of like what I learned from getting back into my paintings and stuff last weekend. You know, I spoke about it at the beginning about how living an adult life kind of starts killing your creativity and your drive and your inspiration, and slowly you lose that part of you. And I also just think that social media, as I'm here doing social media for you guys, I feel like social media also plays a large part. You know, phones are addictive. It's hard sometimes to get off of that phone. It's hard, you know, to get off that phone. Or sometimes, too, you see others who are doing so much and you start comparing yourself to them. Or you just get into a doom scroll of looking at all these things and being inspired, but you never end up actually doing. And I think in this modern age of consumerism, in this modern age of working nonstop and heightening the retirement age and just having us work like horses, work like dogs, I think it's purposeful, because no one is, if you think about it, nobody is more dangerous, nobody is more powerful than somebody in charge of their mind, someone in charge of themselves. And creativity is probably one of the largest parts of that. You know, you go into elementary school, and slowly, you know, we all had childlike whimsy. At some point, everybody has childlike whimsy. At some point, they take that out of us. But why do we have to get rid of it? You know, why do we got to get rid of that childlike whimsy? Why can't we just be childlike? Not childish, childlike all of our lives. I think we still can. And view the world in that child lens. And view the world as something special, because it is. It is special. And why would we waste that? I went to an art school, and I used to be surrounded by all this, and maybe at some points when I discuss this, I may come off pretentious. I feel like it's hard to discuss art and not come off pretentious, because art is so emotional, it's so internal. It's hard not to be pretentious, because most people, dare I say, lack the emotional intelligence to kind of have that conversation artistically in depth. Maybe, you know, like I put a warning that it would come off pretentious, because saying it does come off pretentious. You know, like, ooh, you're not as emotional, you don't know as me. But I think it's facts. I think a lot of people grow up and lose that side of them, so they can't have that discussion. They can't, you know, that art is so deeply emotional, and we're all so connected to it. And I think that's why art has always been, for the most part, punished or trivialized, because people don't want us in charge of our emotions. I mean, imagine what we could do if we were in charge of our emotions. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm just like rambling about nothing, but I think it all makes sense. So I'm going to go into this MAC 213 brush and then this MAC shadow. This is What's the Wi-Fi? And we're just going to go ahead and set this cream. But I was thinking about it because I was like, I used to do art every single day. And not only that did I used to do art every single day, I used to, you know, I'd be that kid in class that was doodling on every single paper. I'd be that kid in class waiting to get off so I could go home and work on a painting, or just daydream about all the things I could create. And at some point I lost the plot. At some point I lost that. And it was, it was because I was working all the time and I was worried about paying bills and I was worried about paying rent. And getting to my art, getting to my emotions, getting to my life, getting into the person that I am became trivial. It became something that I pushed to the side for the sake of chasing money, for the sake of chasing things that I felt I needed to survive. And, they always say the duality of man. You have to balance that side of you. And art is so deeply emotional. Everybody needs it in their life. Everybody, whether it's music, whereas right now you're watching me paint makeup. This is art. Whether it's a painting, whether it's reading a book. Art encompasses everything we do, and we need it, and it's so emotional. Now we got that blended out real quick before I'm just going to interrupt us. And I'm going to go into this Norvina palette. I think this is palette number 3, and we're going to go in between A4, D3, and E1 to start building up those colors, and I'm going to continue talking as I do really well. So getting into my art last weekend, getting back into painting and all these things that I used to do every single day that I thought I could never live without. I'm going to be very vulnerable with you guys, and I think a lot of performers or entertainers can relate to this. Performing isn't necessarily my favorite. I've always had a very odd relationship with my body, and I've never quite been happy with it. I'm trying to find a way to word it. I've always been uncomfortable in my body. I'm clearly an effeminate person. I'm obviously shaped very masculinely. I'm never either. And so I grew up in this military household surrounded by all these military hyper-masculine people where that was kind of the standard. That was kind of the thing. And I always wanted to play in the makeup and the dresses and the Barbies and all these things that are pretty common within the queer experience. I still realize I'm still dealing with a lot of internalized things about that. And I'm not afraid to say it either. It's kind of, I hated my body, and I still hate my body. For the longest time, I had a terrible relationship with my masculinity, because all I ever wanted to be was this effeminate, makeup wearing, dress wearing, flamboyant person. I kind of felt angry that I was born a man, and not in like a trans way. I wouldn't say in a trans way, but just I was angry at society for not allowing me to be what I wanted to be. And so until, now I'm at a point where it's like I can do what the fuck I want, and be okay with it. But back then, when I was a child and you had all these voices, I was so angry, I was so upset, and everything wanted me to be masculine and to be this man and this provider and this protector, and I grew to hate it. I grew to hate my masculinity, and by extension hate my body and hate myself, because I hated how masculine I was, and I grew to look at masculinity as the enemy. This is going to sound like a very first world problem, but I am conventionally attractive. I am aware I am conventionally attractive, but I am conventionally attractive in a very masculine way. I grow a facial hair. I'm 6'4". I have broad shoulders. Everybody sees me as a man. They all see me as this astute protector, this man. And I am that physically. I'm not that mentally. And so, because I've always had people swoon over me over things I hated about myself, I grew resentful about it a little bit. I grew upset, because it's like nobody was seeing me. Everybody was just seeing this. When I was a classically trained painter, I was a professional makeup artist. I've done music videos. I've done so many amazing things in my short life. only ever get recognized for being this hot man. And for the longest time, it frustrated me because it brought me back to this childhood of mine where masculinity was the end-all be-all. And you still see it to this day in the gay community where the people who are uplifted are those masculine cis gay men, and it would frustrate me, and so I hated it. And so for a long time I did whatever I could to avoid that male gaze, and I wore extra makeup and I wore feminine clothes, not because I wanted to, but because I just didn't want men to see me. I didn't want men to see me at all. I always wanted to make myself smaller. I always wanted to hide myself and just not be a part of it. It bleeds so heavily into my drag. I've spent all my life trying not to be seen because physically, but for my talents and my efforts, that I hate performing because one time I was at the club and this guy came up to me and they said, you know what, you're already quiet, but you're even more docile in drag. And as a drag queen, you hear the word docile in drag and you're like, oh, that's not good. Because I have just never, I'm that girl in the club that stands there and like, I don't like to bring attention to myself. I never have, I still don't. Sometimes, a lot of people can find artistic fulfillment in drag. I don't always do. That was the whole point I was trying to get to. Sorry for the long backstory. I don't always find artistic fulfillment or merit in drag. I do in the creation of it. I love making things. I love making the outfits and spending the time and all of that. But I don't get fulfillment in performing because I just want to get it over with every time. And I realize that's an internal thing that I'm working through. Getting back into all these artistic endeavors that I used to do daily, it felt so refreshing because painting and creating was a way for me to tell and speak and spill out a thread of stories about these emotions that I'm not able to articulate, that I'm not able to express, that I'm not able to tell. And through color palettes or shapes or structures and painting, I realized I was able to tell that story that I just have never been able to tell through body language. Painting was my language, Discovering painting again, and made me just so inspired and wanting to get back into the art scene and go to gallery shows and put myself back into that world. I have that shape for our makeup on now, so I'm going to go back into our white. This is that TW, and we're going to go ahead and just start carving out our crease. I try to go for a straight one so it kind of helps lift the face. Boom, boom, and we'll go out. So that's kind of the shape I like, and now I'll go and I'll just start cleaning it up. Start carving that crease. See that? Yummy, right? Alright, that's good enough for me. It's a little uneven, but who's going for perfection nowadays? Not I! So I'm going to take a little, that white beauty blender, and go ahead, tap that product in. So we're going to get started with the under eye, and I'm going to do my usual kind of straight line out. So I'm going to go into those green shades again. Make sure you knock off the excess, and we'll start laying them up. That's one of the big goals I have decided for myself this year, is to really get back into that art scene and consume. And you know what? And I've been out of the loop for so long, and so it's going to take me a while. I'm just doing it for sheer happiness, because we should just be doing things for sheer happiness. Hello, we should be doing things just because it makes us happy. How can you grow at something if you don't consume it? Like, you see it a lot with a lot of these marketing people online trying to make ads for people who they can't relate to. And it's just like, how can you market to YouTube if you don't do YouTube? How can you be a YouTuber if you don't watch YouTube videos? How can you be a painter if you don't learn from painters? How can you be a drag queen if you don't learn from other drag queens? You gotta consume what you're doing to get good at what you're doing. You gotta go to those drag shows. You gotta watch Miss Davenport Dupree Sherrington do her kicks and twists in her fringed leotard. because that's what's going to help you learn how to do drag. Well, that goes for any and all art forms. And so that's kind of my ambitions for the year, is to just consume more art. So for some transparency, every time I do my under eye and I just start putting a line of color down, it freaks me out to no end, because I'm like, what am I doing? This looks bad. And then it always comes together at the end, but it never fails to stress me out until the last moment. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and put the white eyeshadow on, put my lashes, lips on, and I'll be back in full mug to say goodbye. Alright, I'll see you in a second. Alright, everybody, I'm back, and I got the finished look on. I'm feeling pretty sexy right now, I won't lie. This is one of my favorite outfits that I've made. I love it. It's very loud. It's a super loud outfit. It's a super loud outfit, but I love it. I added Black Moon Cosmetics Sleepwalker and then Viva Glam 2 by MAC on the lips. So that's what gave kind of the nudie black lip. The eye look is finished. My traditional cut crease. I'm feeling very amazing. I'm glad that you guys came on this journey. If you made it to the end, I am super appreciative. If you guys got to see how amazing and beautiful I look towards the end, this is one of my favorite outfits. I think you guys can tell just how bubbly I am by it. Thank you guys for going on this journey with me while I talked kind of about the emotional state I'm in, and I'm very appreciative. I'm very happy that I have a platform to kind of share that with you guys, and maybe some of you guys relate to that. Maybe some of you guys can find solace in that, comfort. Until then, I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on out, and I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to you soon. It's Viridian. Bye.